Brother Mustafa, if you can come forward, please, inshallah. Just
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I have to apologise if anyone's in the audience if they've heard my speech before. I've done it in Manchester and I've also done it in Bradford, so I do apologise. But it is a very important issue. We heard from the Palestinian brother, he said the last time the Palestinian or the Gazan border was open was early, back in February of this year. And it was myself and Ibrahim, who's sitting here. We were the last people to leave Gaza. And when I entered Gaza, I entered it on the 6th of January 2010. And I was blessed. I had the honour to stay there for 30 days. And in that time, on the first night, I remember a brother invited us to his home. And about 2 in the morning, a massive explosion happened. And he woke me up. It was massive. It landed almost next door. And I woke up in the middle of the night. And I said the words, La'natullah alayhim. And then I fell back to sleep. I said, may Allah's curse be upon them. And then I fell back to sleep. There's so much peace in Gaza. Everyone in the room did something similar. They woke up and then they fell straight back to sleep. The next morning, straight after Fajr, I went to the place where the bomb struck, and it landed on a house and it demolished everything. He was unable to recognize the house, and it belonged to a couple and their children. Everything what they owned was destroyed in one night. Absolutely everything. And I remember going to the hole, the crater, and if I stood on it, it was easy, the depth of this room, with ease. And a little child was looking into the hole, and he looked up at me, and he said, Khalas, look, it's finished. I'd say, so what? SubhanAllah. I got invited to many places in Palestine. I remember one of the homes I got invited to, he was a Palestinian brother, and he was living not in a tent, but it was just bricks piled up, and his roof was a tin roof, and he had no door, and he was just living there by himself, and his family was living somewhere else. And we asked him his situation, how did he become like this? He said, Mustafa, Ibrahim, he goes, I was one of the most wealthiest men in Gaza. He goes, I had about $4 million. I'm a wealth lied in properties, businesses and cash. And he said, when Israel attacked us, he goes, on one night, it was like Allah took all of his property away from him in one night. And he had properties scattered around in Gaza. Allah took everything away from him. His flats, his houses, his gardens, his wealth, and he had absolutely nothing. And he said, Mustafa, if Allah wills, if He wants to take my life, I'm ready, and it belongs to Him. I won't be speaking too long, only in the next 5 minutes, but these stories, I want you just to tell your friends and families and just spread the word. I met a young boy, not a young boy, he was a young, we'll say young, he was in his 40s. Not in his 40s, maybe about 38. But when I entered his home, he was lying in the bed and he wasn't moving. All he could move was just his head could move, maybe side to side, up and down, and that was it. And we asked him, what happened to yourself? He said, when I was in my prime, when I was in my youth, when Allah gave me strength, he goes, an Israeli sniper shot me. And he shot me in the back of the neck. And let me tell you, I don't want you to hit him in the spine. His whole body was paralyzed from his neck down. Just imagine, just think for 1 second, if you was unable to move and you're lying on your bed, what happens when you need the toilet? Yeah. You're unable to clean yourself. What happens when you want to change your clothes? Just picture it for a second. Ask yourself, if your own brother needs to clean yourself, how would you feel? After the first day, it'll be absolutely, you'll be embarrassed. SubhanAllah, this brother has been going in this situation for 20 years. And when I asked him for advice, he looked at myself and Ibrahim and he said, Alhamdulillah, all praise is due to Allah. I remember entering a house of a brother who had no legs, and he was a cameraman, and he still works as a cameraman today, though he's got no legs. And he said, when the Israeli soldiers entered Gaza, he goes, they would enter, but they would stay so far back, it was unbelievable. And they used the snipers with 50 caliber sniper rifles. And it happened to be like this Israeli sniper shot him in the leg. And when it shot him in the leg, his entrance wound, the entrance is just like a cookie. That's all it is. That's a hole the size of a small cookie. But the exit wound is the size of your hand. And he fell to the ground unconscious, and the camera was facing him. And all you seen is his body moving, because the Israeli sniper continued to fire at his legs until his legs were hanging off. Alhamdulillah, that brother is married, and when I was in Gaza, he was expecting his first child. MashaAllah. I remember entering a house, same situation, a brother had no legs, and you find this common in Gaza because his drones flying about all the time, and it's a shame. Our own leaders, I'm talking about the Muslim leaders, our imams, they don't know what a drone is. Most people you ask on the street, do you know what a drone is? They don't know. It's an aircraft and it has got no pilot in it. And it's got an Israeli behind it, a Zionist. And he's looking from his little computer screen, and he's looking down. So you've got the aircraft flying about, and when it sees movement and it gets the green light, it fires a rocket. Now when this rocket lands and explodes, it fires metal shrapnel. And this shrapnel went so fast it took his legs off. And he said, Mustafa, he goes, when this happened, he goes, by Allah, I didn't feel nothing. He goes, I just felt pins and needles in my legs. And this person had so much nur, so much light on his face. We wanted an excuse to stay with him for about 3 days, but we was unable to. And you know what was an amazing thing he showed us? He showed us a video clip of himself. And during his operation, it was ajib, it was so strange, it was unbelievable. For the whole of the operation, he's unconscious. Yet this person, the words which were uttering from his mouth were La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah La ilaha illa ant subhanaka inni kuntu min al-zalimin. He was praising Allah Azza wa Jal for the whole of the operation, and he didn't stop until the operation was finished. SubhanAllah, is ajib. There's so many things and so many stories, which obviously I could probably go on all night. I'm telling you, one of the, SubhanAllah, you won't find one person in Gaza asking. They won't ask for something. Allah has given them honor, and they take it seriously. When I went to a refugee camp, we bought some rice, some sugar, some oil, and it's very difficult to find someone who would accept it, because they're always saying, go to this house, go to that house. But we ended up giving it to her family, and she only took it because it was a gift. She wasn't interested in sadaqah. I remember meeting a boy in which another rocket landed. This time it didn't take off his legs. It injured one of his, I think it was his right leg. So he could walk, but he didn't have use of his right leg. And his father had the opportunity, could either amputate a leg, but he wanted his son to keep the leg, for it will bear witness on Yawm al-Qiyamah. And this person only left his home for one intention, just to get water. He had no water for his mother, for his father, and he left his home in search. And this is what happened to him. I asked everyone, just do research about Palestine. Everyone here, they can go to Palestine. You're more than welcome. You don't need to go with a convoy. You don't need to go with a group of people. Every individual here can actually go to Palestine. You can go to Egypt and you can make your way there. And Allah is the one who opens doors. And don't let anyone tell you that the door of Gaza is closed. Jazakallah khairan for listening to me. And I pray that Allah gives all the ability, man, to look at this ummah. Because it's this ummah, inshallah, like the brother said, we're like one body. If our brothers are feeling pain, we should have some pain in our heart. And if we're not feeling that pain, there's something wrong with us. We are Muslims, we do believe in Allah, and we do believe in His Prophet.